In this episode, you'll see Akira Tendo walking into the room to pay a bicycle parking debt and witnessing a man covered in blood ripping out the internal organs of a strange woman with his mouth. At first, Tendo doesn't realize what's going on, but after the man turns around and runs at him, he realizes that the zombie apocalypse has arrived. The main character, Akira Tendo, watches a zombie movie and complains about his job at the office, where he suffers every day, doesn't sleep, and just pretends to work. 3 years ago, he dreamed of working in the production department, and now his dream has come true. He introduces himself to the whole team in the office, and everyone is happy to see him. He dreams of creating commercials for the company, is shown to his office, and meets the head of the department. Then a girl crashes into him, dropping all her notebooks, and he helps her pick them up. Tendo develops feelings for her, and from their conversation, he learns that she is Masao Otori, who works in accounting. After a day of work, they go to a bar and Tendo tells Masao about himself, where he went to school, and what he does. After they eat, they start getting ready to go back to the office. And then the most hellish days begin, with Tendo working all night and waking up in the office. It takes 2 days before he can leave the office, and he can hardly make it home, going straight to bed. He gets up at 6:00 a.m., still unable to sleep, and suddenly doesn't feel like working anymore. Despite the difficult work, Tendo goes to work in a good mood, knowing that these 2 days will pass for a reason. Mr. Kosuke, the head of the department, scolds the other workers for not wanting to work there. After a year of this kind of work, the boss says that Tendo is replacing Takakashi because he's out. After this conversation, Masao Otori brings him a whole bag of food, as she's the only person who keeps her from going crazy in this company. The director of the company turns out to be the CEO's mistress. Tendo has no desire to work in this office anymore and feels sorry for himself for taking this job. He walks home tired and confused. 3 years later, he's talking to a client about a commercial for the company. The client wanted to rewrite the script to include the CEO's kid, but Tendo says he can't do it in 1 day. He suggests 5 days, but the client says there are other companies that can do the commercial for them. Still, Tendo had to agree to do it in 1 day. He's already signed a contract with the cast and crew, but he doesn't understand how to fit a child into the script. When he gets home, he watches TV channels talking about commercials, feeling lost and wishing he could go to sleep and never wake up again. In the morning, he says in a loud tone that he doesn't want to go to work, but he has to. Tendo then sees that he got the mail and forgot to pay for a parking space for his bicycle. He goes to the owner of the parking lot and witnesses a man covered in blood tearing out all the woman's internal organs. At first, Tendo doesn't understand what's going on, but after the man turns and runs at him, he realizes it's the zombie apocalypse. Tendo runs away from the man and turns right to run out into the street, but he encounters another crowd of the same people, all running after him. As he's running, he hits an open door and blood starts pouring from his forehead, and then he realizes that these are zombies. He runs out onto the roof of the house where he lives and sees that the whole town is in a zombie apocalypse. After seeing that, he realizes that he doesn't have to go to work anymore. He runs joyfully away from a bunch of zombies that are behind him, jumps off the roof into a tree, lands on the ground, and runs on to wherever he was going. Until yesterday, he had seen the world completely in black and white, as if everything was under a black storm cloud. He's glad for the blue sky and the blood coming out of his head. He's just happy not to go back to his shitty job that's been killing him for 4 years and driving him crazy. He's filled with emotion and lies on the ground thinking about what he can do today, thinking about getting his motorcycle license, going scuba diving, or just drinking in the morning and watching movies on TV all day. He had a bunch of things he wanted to do, and now he's going to do them all. But he realizes he's lost his love, Masao Otori. He no longer cares if she's someone else's mistress. He just wants to be with her. He wants to confess his feelings to her that very day. He drives to her house across the city, which is filled with zombies. In the evening, he's on her doorstep, afraid to knock on the door because he's so worried. The door to her apartment is open. Tendo opens the door, calls out Masao Otori's name, and then he sees his naked boss from his office, who's also a zombie. He tells the boss how fed up he is with his job and that he's resigning, and throws the fat carcass out the window. Then he looks to his left and sees that Masao Otori turns out to be a zombie too. At this moment, he breaks down in tears. He can't believe this is happening. He says he's in love with her, and at that moment, she throws herself at him. As he starts to run away, she says, "Goodbye, my first love." He runs out of the house and runs to the nearest store. And from that moment on, he decides to take action.